Okay, if we're going to go ahead and create number 14 here from the problem sheet, first in Inventor, we're going to jump back into Inventor and start a new part by clicking on the New button. It's going to bring up the Create New Part file. Make sure it's an English part file. Make it a standard IPT file and hit Create. And as we wait for the file to load, what we're going to be doing here today is working on creating a part and then utilizing some work features, specifically creating a work feature in the center of a part to extrude in both directions. So if we come back and we look at that image here of number 14, what we're going to do is draw this front view, the profile of this front view, over 5, up 1, back 4, and so forth. And we'll go ahead and get that sketched out. So I'm going to grab my 2D sketch tool and grab my XY plane. Then I'll go ahead and grab my line tool, sending it up on center point there, pulling out, setting up 5 inches, and rollerballing out, pushing the drawing over with the center rollerball. And then we're going to come up 1, back over 4, up 1, back 1, and then back down to the start point for 2 inches. Then we'll finish that sketch, zoom back out, and we'll set up the Extrude tool to go ahead and extrude this object so it extrudes out 3 inches. Now after we have this object extruded at 3 inches, what I want to do is I want to get a work plane directly through the center of the part so I can add the remaining geometry to build out that center angle piece for this particular feature. So to do so, in Inventor, I'm going to work with my work features, where I pull down my work feature, and there's several work features we can actually utilize to do this. One of them can be offset from plane, where I go ahead and if I select a plane, hold down my left mouse and push in, and then I can type in the distance I want to offset. So this would be a negative 1.5 to find center at 3. That would be one way to do it. Another way that the work features function is if I grab the plane tool and I come down and I actually want to make this mid-plane between 2 points. I can go ahead and then select this front plane as my first plane, and then I can find the back plane. As I mouse over that black edge, it finds that back plane, or if you would like to actually turn your part around here, you could then do so and then grab that back face, and by doing so it then places your work surface directly in the middle of your part. Either way works. There's also other features here to do that, but those two are just two great easy ways to show you how to get a work plane directly through the center of your part. Now with that, I'll grab my 2D sketch tool and I'll come down and select the edge of that work plane. By selecting the edge of the work plane, it now places a 2D sketch on that work plane. Now any drawing I do will occur on that work plane sketch. So I go back to my front view, and now I go ahead and grab my line tool. And I'm going to go ahead and mouse over this top corner point, waiting for that to turn green. Two things are happening when that occurs. It's locking on to the geometry that is being projected from the front edge to the work surface. So as I come down and then select, wait for this to turn green, and then go ahead and select, what I've done is I've now just created a line that is going to then run from this piece of geometry that was projected from the front edge to the work surface. Inventor does that automatically to give you something to lock to. And then it has drawn this angle to this particular piece of geometry, again, projected from this front edge for you. Now, I can continue and get my closed loop and draw from this point to this point with a line. That would work fine. Or I can utilize this project geometry option again, grabbing this project geometry button. If I mouse over this front edge and sit over top of just this front edge and then select it, what that's going to do is it projects the geometry onto this work surface. As you can see, these yellow lines there. So with that being set up, I can hit Finish Sketch and then grab my Extrude tool. Mouse back over this closed looped area and finds the only closed loop here on the sketch is here in the center. So what we'll go ahead and do here is change the distance. We want this to be 1 inch. However, we don't want to extrude this in one direction. We want actually to extrude this in both directions from our work plane. So we'll change that by using the Symmetric Extrusion tool. This takes it in both directions, splitting that 1 inch direction. Go ahead and hit OK. And then what we can do is come back out here to our isometric view And what we can do now is we can either keep this work plane here, or we can turn that work plane off if we don't want to view it. So I can right click and turn the visibility off. We can't delete it because we have a sketch that is being hosted by that work plane. This is now a complete object for what would be number 14 off of this problem sheet for technical drawing. Hope that helps work out some issues on how to utilize the center work plane feature.